Hello, I'm Ria and today I'm here to discuss about persona. So while I was doing my first research on persona to understand what it is, what I got an idea by the basic definition was it is a fictional character of users used to represent audience in a way that they connect to the emotional behavior of your audience, yet covers all the aspects of what should be your target audience. So personas also allow us to do a direct representation of our audience in such a way that we connect to them on a personal level. So it is something like this particular person does things in this way rather than X number of marketeers does shopping in this way, or a user expert designer is working on a project using some sticky notes. What if I tell you that Ria uses this sticky note? So you might connect to Ria better rather than user experience person, right? But when I started out, when I did my first persona research for my internship at Apna, I realized that my personas were very limiting. I got the idea of my audience was, but if somebody has to keep building project on that, the product will not be very good if they do not keep on building the personas. Which means that persona is going to be an iterative process and somebody should keep working on that. And I later realized that this is not exactly how things work. You don't have enough resources in a company so that people can keep working on an existing project where they already have things. So what will happen is people will keep using on the things from the previous research. And at that particular point of time, I realized that I needed to work in a way about my personas that they are somewhere better than the existing definition, and they could be used for a longer time. And if somebody wants to work on the same project, they should be able to build on what I did before. That is what I want to discuss in this section. So what I got an idea was there are clear 4 types of personas. The first type of persona is goal-based. So suppose your goal is to get people to download your app, which means you are looking out to the people who do not actually belong to your audience right now. Right? This focuses on some task or goals you want your users or the audience to achieve. Now, the second type of persona. This persona is a role-based persona, which means there are some users in the system or the process already, and now you want to work on them to get a better idea of what they do, who they are, so that you can build your product in a way that it is better. This should be used in an incremental way when you already have a product. This should not work well when you do not have any audience. The third type of personas are engaging ones. So what usually happens is not every kind of people you try to connect will have an engaging storyline or something that you can connect to them on a very personal level. So in that case, you derive few stories which are the common struggles of these people and make them based on the scenarios which are existing in your product as well, or the problem you are trying to solve, so that you can understand them better and know more about them. These are very interactive when people see them because they already have a story and you can connect to somebody's story better. But one limitation with them is this story might not be true to everyone, and in that case what actually happens is we sometimes end up missing a particular section or a particular thing just because the researcher had some biases and deviated towards one kind of storyline more than the other, right? Now the fourth one are the fiction-based personas. So these are the persona used by the internal teams or the product teams while building out the product when they don't know who their users are. But while launching the product, you have already some audience in mind that this is the section of people I want to capture, right? So these are fiction-based. This covers all our four types of personas. The very common way to create persona is to connect with more people, interview them, understand them, and to get to know them better so that you can understand the things they are doing and utilize them in a better way in your personas. Now there are few common things which always exist in all these four kind of personas. One is demographic information, the age, gender, education, occupation, location. All these help in building a personal connection. Now these name and age factors will vary around your audience, but your audience belongs to some target group. There might be some age group like 25 to 40 or something. So you can pick a number from there and age which represents or the name which represents the location and the area in that where your product is being launched. And then there are some personal informations like hobbies, interests, history. So these look like very generic and people tend to mix up on why they are required. But they help us understand in what are their people's pastime, how do they do things, what they enjoy, and which generation do they belong. So by generation what I mean is what kind of things you do. Like there is a different section of things that Gen Z does, that millennials does. This is where this generation thing help you in understanding better, right? Now the professional background. So usually if your product is for the business, that will have a professional background as a target audience, because suppose you have a design tool and you try to sell it to a salesperson, they won't have any use for it. That's why they are not your audience. Even if they don't understand things, it's not something that you should care about, because they are not your audience. You don't have to work on how they like things and how they don't. But if your audience is designers, because you are building a design product, you should have this in place so that a new person joins, they could also understand what kind of designers are you looking for. Is that a graphic designer, or is that a UX designer, or is that a researcher, or is that a visual designer? These things will help you in understanding things better. So it is always advised to add profession and occupation and such similar things in your persona. The other thing would be internet usage. So the internet usage is used because there are different kind of generations of internet, like only reading ones, or the social media ones, or the ones where people are ready to publish their things and sell them on internet, right? Three broader audience of what they do on internet. How are they using internet? Are they only consuming from it, or are they using it to push as well? So these things could be understood better when you know about your audience, and these are the four factors that you should definitely add irrespective of what type of resume you have. Now that you know what are the types of persona and what are the personas that you should always include in your process, it will be easier for you to understand things better. What are the limitations of the persona and how you can fix them. So if you create, say, lots of persona thinking that the more types of audience I have, it will be easier. No, it won't be, because it might end up confusing you later on. What type of people were they? Or these two people have something similar in between them. yet they are separate. How are they separate? Is that even an important section to consider them to be separate? So you should consider all these factors before creating personas and try limiting personas to a limited number so that it is easy and manageable, right? Another common pitfall is people use assumptions. So there might be few things while researching you might have forgot. What usually happens is people forget to add the interest. What are their hobbies? They miss out on these things. If that is a professional help tool. Now that you have missed on that, it does not mean that you can take the assumptions and add things from your own. Instead, what you can do is go back to those people rather than having a full-blown interview again. Just ask them few questions and fix the problem, because when you base your persona based on some particular person's assumption, it has very high chances to have biases, and the reason of creating persona does not get solved that we were trying to understand users better. This will still reflect somebody's particular personality, so it would be better to go back and research on it. Also, since the personas get outdated with time, you should also maintain a process on what are the some particular things future people should understand and what are the things they should research on from your end, so that it will save their time and they can look at your results and your research to get more insight whenever they are confused, right? If you want to validate your personas, or if you want to use a process to build on some existing personas, what you could do is use point of view and how might we methods. So in point of view method, what you can try is get who are your users, what they want to do and why they want to do. Once that you have this sorted, you can use and now think based on the persona, how might you solve this problem for them, and is this feasible for them? Once you have done this, how might we think, you will get a better idea. Based on that particular question, you can think that based on this persona, can this person do this? Are they eligible? Or this is something that is not possible from them. So this might help you in validating your whole designs as well as your product in a perspective that it is user friendly. Thank you.